Sung Jin-Woo is seen sleeping in his room when he suddenly receives a call from Jin-Ah, reminding him that he needs to attend a meeting at her school. Realizing he's already late, he rushes there. Upon his arrival, Jin-Ah notices that he looks different, and her classmates find him quite attractive. She even offers to introduce him to one of them since he doesn't have a girlfriend, but Jin-Woo brushes it off, reminding her that they're late. He then meets her teacher, who believes Jin-Ah has the potential to get into medical school due to her excellent academic performance. However, the teacher wonders if Jin-Woo would allow her to work as a hunter if she were to awaken her powers. Jin-Woo firmly states that he wouldn't. The teacher then asks him for a favor. Jin-Woo later meets Sung Jin-Woo, who recognizes Jin-Ah from a photo and realizes she is his sister. She mentions that she won't be returning to school because she wants to focus on her career. However, Jin-Woo warns her that she can't make a living as an errant hunter. She refuses to listen, pointing out that he is also an E rank. But Jin-Woo clarifies that he isn't telling her to give up, just to reconsider. Meanwhile, Go Gun-hee is at the airport welcoming Thomas Andre to Korea. Thomas instantly recognizes him as the chairman of the Hunters Association. Gun-hee asks how long he plans to stay, but Thomas reassures him that he won't be around for long. However, Gun-hee knows that Thomas wants to meet Jin-Woo and Yoo Jin-ho since they were involved in his brother's death. Gun-hee warns him not to play dumb, as the surveillance team is already aware that he's here for revenge. Elsewhere, Choi Jong-in meets with Baek Yoon-ho, who reveals that the monsters on Jeju Island have evolved. They are attempting to use their wings to fly across the sea. Choi acknowledges that while they still can't fly far, they might become an even greater threat in the future. Back to Jin-Woo, he joins a group of hunters near a newly appeared gate and greets Woo Jin-chul, who realizes that Jin-Woo has brought Song-yi along. It is revealed that Jin-Woo had asked Woo Jin-chul to allow her to join the raid. Their timing is perfect, as a C-rank gate has just appeared. However, a man named Hwang Dong-soo suddenly interrupts them. Jin-Woo doesn't recognize him, so Woo Jin-chul explains that he is an A-rank hunter who will serve as the group's tank. Dong-soo looks down on Jin-Woo and Song-yi, despite them both being A-rank hunters. The team, consisting of 10 hunters, with half being B-rank, prepares for an on-site practice. However, Woo Jin-chul's assistant, Hyun-ki, advises Jin-Woo to let the others handle the raid, as most of them are inexperienced. As they enter the gate, Jin-Woo suddenly senses something strange. Before they can react, the gate turns red, leaving everyone in shock. Jin-Woo immediately realizes they are in danger and tells Song-yi to contact the assault team, but before she can act, he is sucked into the gate. Baek Yoon-ho learns about the incident and wonders why the gate suddenly turned red. He decides to investigate the situation himself. Inside, the team finds themselves stranded in an unfamiliar location, and they soon realize that the gate has disappeared. Chugong mentions that they have entered a red gate, meaning they have lost all contact with the outside world. Jin-Woo explains that the only way to escape is to either defeat the dungeon boss or wait for the gate to collapse. Before they can process the situation, the team is ambushed, and an arrow kills one of the C-rank hunters. Everyone quickly prepares to fight. Song-yi realizes that Jin-Woo just saved her life, while Dong-soo spots high-level elves positioned above them. Jin-Woo notes that the enemies are targeting the weakest team members and quickly moves to counter. Chugong steps up and tells everyone to follow his orders if they want to survive. However, he admits that he can't lead everyone, so he decides to split them into 2 groups, ensuring that only the strong will be in his party. One of the C-rank hunters tries to join him, but Chugong pushes him back, declaring that only B-rank hunters are allowed. He explains that one day inside the red gate equals 1 hour outside, meaning they could be trapped for months. To survive, they need to leave the weak behind. Despite the circumstances, Han decides to join Jin-Woo's party. She saw him catch an arrow mid-air, proving that he is reliable. Chugong leads his group down the main road, while Jin-Woo and his team head into the forest. Dong-soo notices claw marks on the trees and realizes that ice bears inhabit the area. He assumes that Jin-Woo's team will be wiped out, but his companion doesn't care and orders everyone to prepare for battle. A group of ice bears suddenly appears, attacking without hesitation. One of the hunters bravely faces an ice bear, but barely manages to block its attack with his shield before slicing it in half. Meanwhile, Han warns Jin-Woo that they have entered ice bear territory and suggests turning back. However, Jin-Woo insists on moving deeper into the forest because he knows that the elves pose an even greater threat. As the temperature drops, Jin-Woo retrieves jackets from his inventory and hands them to his group. They are shocked, questioning how he has 4 jackets, since even high-rank hunters can't carry more than 3 items. Song-Yi hesitantly asks him who he really is, but Jin-Woo simply reminds her that he was the one who brought her here, making it his responsibility to protect her. He then firmly tells her and the others to stop asking questions and just follow his lead. An ice bear suddenly appears, causing Jin-Woo's companions to panic, but he remains calm and prepares to take it on. Meanwhile, Baek Yoon-ho arrives at the Red Gate and realizes that it has been sealed off. Woo Jin-chul informs him that Sung Jin-Woo is trapped inside. Baek asks about his rank, and Woo Jin-chul hesitantly reveals that Jin-Woo is an errant hunter, though he suspects that Jin-Woo has reawakened. Just then, Hwang Dong-soo joins them, and Baek is surprised to see him since he was supposed to be in America. Dong-soo questions why errant hunters were allowed to enter the gate, making it clear that he knows Jin-Woo is inside. Go Gun-hee, who is also present, believes that Dong-soo is frustrated because he can't enter the gate himself. Inside the Red Gate, Jin-Woo defeats the ice bears with his bare hands, shocking his companions. Later, they begin eating the bear meat for sustenance. Hen remains on high alert, suspecting that there may be more bears nearby, and warns the group not to let their guard down. However, Song-Yi is more concerned about why Jin-Woo left them alone. Jin-Woo, meanwhile, arrives at the ice bear's lair and summons his shadow army, ordering them to attack. The shadows charge in, and the ice bears retaliate, but the mage-class shadows continuously revive the fallen knight-class shadows, allowing them to keep fighting. Jin-Woo quickly realizes that this process is draining his mana. A massive ice bear suddenly appears, effortlessly wiping out several of his shadows. Jin-Woo realizes he's out of mana and orders Igris to fight it. The bear lunges at Igris, trying to crush him, but Igris counters, slicing its legs. The bear attempts to unleash its full power, but Igris swiftly decapitates it. Jin-Woo is impressed, realizing that Igris might be even stronger than him. After the battle, Jin-Woo resurrects the fallen ice bears, adding them to his shadow army. Meanwhile, Chugong's party is struggling against high-level elves. His companions beg him to save them, but they are all slaughtered. Devastated, Chugong can't believe what's happening. He was on the verge of becoming an elite member of the White Tiger Guild, yet he is completely powerless against the elves. He notices one of the elves smirking at him, and in sheer terror, he runs away, unaware that the elf leader is watching him from a distance. Back outside, Woo Jin-chul notes that 3 hours have passed since the hunters entered the gate. Hwang Dong-soo arrogantly assumes that Jin-Woo is already dead and considers leaving. However, he can't shake the feeling of what Jin-Woo might be doing inside the gate, given that he isn't an official member of the White Tiger Guild. Woo Jin-chul then reveals that Jin-Woo is his friend, which is why he allowed him to join the party. Furious, Dong-soo grabs Woo Jin-chul by the throat, demanding to know what he's up to. Baek Yoon-ho orders Dong-soo to release him, but Dong-soo defiantly declares that he doesn't take orders from anyone. Tension escalates as both hunters unleash their auras, creating a powerful shockwave before attacking each other. Go Gun-hee quickly intervenes, stopping them before the fight escalates further. Gun-hee then reminds Dong-soo that his brother, Hwang Dong-seok, was killed by monsters, but Dong-soo refuses to believe it. He insists that Yoo Jin-ho is responsible for his brother's death and is determined to kill him. Gun-hee questions why Dong-soo is so fixated on Jin-ho, and Dong-soo chillingly admits that he just needed an excuse to kill someone. Before he can act, however, he receives a message and abruptly decides to leave. Meanwhile, Chugong wanders through the forest and stumbles upon the corpses of the ice bears. He wonders if Jin-Woo's team was responsible for killing them, but quickly dismisses the idea, believing that they shouldn't be strong enough. He assumes that the elves were behind it until he spots Jin-Woo's group casually relaxing, as if they have everything they need to survive. Filled with rage and resentment, Chugong blames them for his party's deaths. He accuses them of hoarding the supplies and food, claiming that his team was wiped out because they didn't have enough resources. His anger reaches a breaking point, and he threatens to kill Jin-Woo's group. However, before he can act, Jin-Woo slams him into the ground, telling him that he's the one responsible for getting his teammates killed. Just then, Jin-Woo senses a presence and calls out to the elves hiding nearby. The elf leader, Baruka, emerges from the shadows and mocks humanity, calling them trash. Jin-Woo asks if he's referring to the hunters, but he is surprised when he understands Baruka's language. He suspects that it's because of the system. Baruka reveals that one of his soldiers wants to fight Jin-Woo. Jin-Woo immediately recognizes him as the same elf who attacked them earlier. Without hesitation, he beheads him. Baruka then charges at Jin-Woo, blocking his attack effortlessly. The elf leader seems amused, asking why Jin-Woo is associating with humans since he's not like them. He reveals that elves hear voices in their heads every time they see a human, urging them to kill. However, Baruka confesses that when he looks at Jin-Woo, the voices are silent. Because of this, he doesn't want to fight him, and even offers to spare his life if he hands over his companions. Jin-Woo demands to know why elves wage war against humans, and Baruka starts to answer, but suddenly glitches, as if something is interfering. He repeats his demand for Jin-Woo to surrender his companions, but this time, he seems confused. Jin-Woo refuses, making it clear that he won't hand them over. Realizing that Jin-Woo wants to fight, Baruka warns him that he's outnumbered. Jin-Woo summons his shadow army, stunning his companions, who can't believe what they're seeing. Baruka orders his men to attack, and a chaotic battle erupts between the elves and the shadows. Meanwhile, Jin-Woo's companions try to flee, but the elven archers prepare to shoot them down. Reacting instantly, Jin-Woo cuts down the archers, but he notices that his mana is rapidly depleting because his soldiers are struggling against the elves. Baruka himself charges at Jin-Woo, and Jin-Woo immediately recognizes that the elf leader is far stronger than he expected. He begins to realize that even with Ygritte's help, he might not be able to win this fight. Jin-Woo and Baruka fight evenly, but Baruka lands a kick and enjoys himself until the shadow mages blast him with a fireball. Chugong sees the explosion and charges at Jin-Woo, but Ygritte stabs him, revealing that Jin-Woo predicted his move. Jin-Woo turns Chugong into a shadow and pushes Baruka back, naming his new soldier Iron. Iron lets out a scream that provokes Baruka, who attacks, calling him slow. The others watch, clueless about the intense battle. Baruka taunts Iron, claiming he's too weak, and tells Ygritte and Jin-Woo to fight him together. Even outnumbered, Baruka holds his ground. Iron uses Provoke again, luring Baruka into attacking, but Jin-Woo stabs him from behind. However, he misses a vital spot, and Baruka mocks him, claiming he underestimated him. Jin-Woo tells him his army has already fallen, making Baruka furious. He charges and Jin-Woo throws a dagger but misses on purpose. Baruka laughs, but Jin-Woo pulls it back using ruler's authority, forcing Baruka to block it, breaking his weapon. Iron restrains him, and the shadow mages blast him with flames, causing a massive explosion. Baruka barely survives and threatens everyone, but Jin-Woo stabs him again, declaring the fight over. Iron finishes him off with a hammer smash, and Jin-Woo levels up. Iron keeps attacking Baruka's body until Jin-Woo orders him to stop. Jin-Woo tells his team they can go home, and they celebrate. Woo Jin-Chul notes that a week has passed inside the Red Gate, but as the gate disappears, only Jin-Woo's group makes it out. Baek Yoon-ho is shocked, wondering how only low-rank hunters survived. He demands answers from Jin-Woo, reminding him that 6 White Tiger Guild members are missing, but Jin-Woo simply says he saved 2, implying Baek should thank him instead. Baek apologizes, but Han notices that Jin-Woo looks upset. She doesn't know why, but Song-yi assumes he's just exhausted. Baek orders Woo Jin-Chul to bring Jin-Woo to their guild. Jin-Woo takes Song-yi home, and she thanks him for everything. On his way back, he examines Baruka's knife, recalling how he failed to turn him into a shadow. The next morning, Yoo Jin-ho picks him up, but Jin-Woo says they need to pick someone else first. Song-yi joins them looking tired. Jin-Woo asks if she slept, but Jin-ho misreads the situation, teasing him about spending the night with her. Jin-Woo ignores him, and they head to their next mission. During the battle, Jin-Woo's shadows slaughter the monsters, shocking Jin-ho. He asks about them, and Jin-Woo casually explains that he summoned them with his skill. After the fight, they collect mana crystals, but Jin-ho insists on gathering them himself. Meanwhile, a mysterious man appears in the wreckage, assuring a panicked soldier that his companions are alive and that he just wants to go home. Jin-Woo and Jin-Ho celebrate their 19 successful raids. Jin-Woo asks about Jin-Ho's plans, and he reveals that he'll take the Guildmaster's license test to negotiate with his father. Jin-Woo mentions that they won't see each other for a while. Jin-Ho assumes Jin-Woo finds him annoying, admitting that his own son dislikes him and that he and Jin-Woo never bonded as brothers. He thanks Jin-Woo for everything, and Jin-Woo finally acknowledges him as his younger brother. The mysterious man is revealed to be Alon, a hunter trapped in a gate for 10 years who somehow ended up in America. They mention that Alon can't speak English and need a Korean interpreter to interrogate him, so they call Hwang Dong-soo. Meanwhile, Jin-Woo returns to Demon's Castle, recalling that he was only level 20 when he fought the Cerberus, but now his level has tripled, making him confident in clearing the dungeon. He unlocks the next area and receives a quest to collect 10,000 demon souls to craft the elixir of life. Though the amount seems ridiculous, he is determined to complete it. Meanwhile, Yu Jin-Ho talks to his father, Yu Myung-han, about becoming their guild leader. However, Myung-han knows Jin-Woo helped him get the Guildmaster license and doesn't think he's worthy. Still, he offers a chance on the condition that he recruits Jin-Woo into their guild. Back in the dungeon, Jin-Woo clears the first floor, but learns he can't turn demons into shadows due to their contaminated mana. He gains a permit to enter the second floor, but only through a teleportation circle. Not wanting to walk through the massive dungeon, he summons the leader of the Ice Bears, renaming it Tank, and rides it through the area. Demons try to block their path, but Tank charges through them with ease. Meanwhile, Cha-Han is at a swimming pool when she recalls Choi Jong-un telling her about the winged monsters from Jeju Island. She wonders why the Hunters Association hasn't revealed it to the public, but Choi explains that it was a direct order to avoid causing panic. However, he reassures her that they are strengthening their guild to face any upcoming threats. Jin-Woo continues hunting demons, realizing the monsters are B rank but becoming stronger as he ascends. He focuses on eliminating demons with entry permits to progress, but knowing that the castle has 100 floors, he realizes he needs to hurry since his food supply is running low. Meanwhile, Han visits Woo Jin-chul, searching for Jin-Woo, but he isn't home. She assumes they shouldn't have come, but Woo Jin-chul states that Jin-Woo's last known location was in an urban area, leading them to suspect he has gone somewhere else. Jin-Woo eventually reaches the Lord of the Lower Floors, and his shadows engage in battle. With his increased intelligence, he controls his army more efficiently. However, the boss suddenly counterattacks, forcing Jin-Woo to punch it with full strength, sending it flying. Impressed with his enhanced power, he assumes victory, until the boss quickly recovers and charges at him. Iron throws his shield, allowing Jin-Woo to block the relentless attacks. Spotting an opening, he lunges forward, but the boss anticipates his move. Realizing he's about to be hit, Jin-Woo uses Ruler's authority to halt the attack, dodging just in time. He concludes that the only way to defeat it is to strike its head. Luring the boss, he leads it toward a building, then climbs up using his skills as the boss crashes into it. From above, he launches a surprise attack, slashing its neck. The boss falls, and the collapsing debris crushes its body, marking Jin-Woo's victory. As a reward, he receives a World Tree fragment. Meanwhile, Alon is interrogated, and Hwang Dong-soo mocks him, calling him a talking monster. Alon insists he's human and dares Dong-soo to test his DNA. He is frustrated that his boss interrupted him before he could have fun, but he warns that the worst disaster is about to happen. Dong-soo believes they can stop it by gathering the strongest hunters, but Alon disagrees, saying they won't stand a chance. Checking Island's records, Dong-soo realizes that he is Jin-Woo's father. Furious, he threatens to kill him, claiming Jin-Woo is already dead. Meanwhile, firefighters arrive at a disaster scene where civilians realize the destruction was caused by two S-rank hunters. Fortunately, they believe they were lucky since Hwang Dong-soo was defeated instantly. Back in Demon's Castle, Jin-Woo's minions slaughter demons on the 75th floor. He notes that the battle is one-sided, but the floor boss just stands there, seemingly terrified. After finishing it off, the system notifies him that he has leveled up again, but he soon realizes that he's completely out of food. With 25 floors left, he knows his journey isn't over yet. As a reward for defeating the boss, Jin-Woo receives an earring and necklace from a set that boosts his stats, but he needs a final piece to complete it. He also gets Avrisha's glass, an item that enhances his Shadow Mage's magic power. Opening a cursed loot box, he finds a mysterious key, but the system provides no information about it. With 2 of the required Elixir of Life ingredients secured, Jin-Woo decides to call it a day, knowing that he will need one last item to save his mother. Confident, he plans to find it next time. Jin-Woo realized he needed just one more item to complete the Elixir of Life. However, retrieving it required far more strength, meaning he had to power up before returning to that demonic castle. The problem? He was still classified as a rank E and couldn't join high-level raids. Deciding it was time to stop pretending to be weak, he headed to the assessment center to get his rank reassessed. A scout from the White Tiger Guild was on the lookout for new talent, but all he saw were weaklings until Jin-Woo walked in. The moment he saw him, he froze and immediately called the guild master. Even Baek Yoon-ho was surprised when he heard that Jin-Woo had come for a reassessment. While waiting in line, a nervous newbie was sweating bullets, terrified of getting a low rank and struggling to pay his bills. Another guy tried to reassure him, saying, "Relax, bro. If you at least hit rank D, the smaller guild scouts will be all over you." Finally, it was Jin-Woo's turn. Inside, he handed over his information, ID, documents, everything. The lady at the desk chuckled. "Another frustrated rank E who can't accept he's a loser? Ha," she joked. She told him to place his hand on the black crystal, but when he did, the machine threw an error. Thinking it was a glitch, she reset it and tried again. Another error. Now starting to panic, she called her boss. He personally ran the assessment, only for the machine to fail a 3rd time. That's when he started trembling. It wasn't the machine malfunctioning, it was Jin-Woo. His power levels were off the charts. The boss whispered in shock, "This kid is one of the top 10 in the country. He's a rank S." Meanwhile, in a nearby park, Woo Jin-chul was chatting with a red-haired nerd about the mysterious hunter who had helped at the Red Gate. Jin-chul swore it wasn't Hwang Dong-soo, even though some people thought it was. Curious as ever, the red-haired guy asked, "Then who was it?" Jin-chul admitted he didn't stay till the end, so he wasn't sure, but he had his suspicions about Jin-Woo. However, he kept quiet until he had solid proof. Just then, they noticed a commotion at the assessment building. It sounded like a hunter was throwing a tantrum over their rank. Jin-chul decided to check it out, and the redhead tagged along, saying he was curious too. Back at the assessment center, the boss had no choice but to postpone Jin-Woo's assessment. His power was too much for their detector to handle. The entire place was in chaos, because a delay like that practically screamed rank S. No one had ever seen someone break the detector before. Scouts from smaller guilds were already drooling at the thought of recruiting him, but their excitement was cut short when someone unexpected arrived, the leader of the Hunters Guild, the biggest guild in South Korea. Whispers filled the room. Why is the Supreme Soldier himself here? Jin-Woo immediately recognized him, Go Gun-hee. His fire magic was so powerful, he could incinerate the entire building in seconds. With a piercing gaze, Go Gun-hee confidently declared, "No need for any fancy detectors or a 3-day wait. Without a doubt, this kid is a rank S." With a polite smile, Go Gun-hee introduced himself as the leader of the country's biggest guild and personally invited Jin-Woo to join his squad. But Jin-Woo! He just walked right past him, saying he was busy. The entire room, including 4 eyes, stood there in stunned silence. Who in their right mind would reject one of the strongest guild leaders in the country like that? Go Gun-hee turned to his slick-haired assistant. "Did I forget to introduce myself properly?" But before they could react, Jin-Woo had already vanished into thin air without a sound. Gun-hee smirked. He'd make a damn good assassin. Things got even crazier when Baek Yoon-ho, completely out of breath, stormed in. Gun-hee, noticing how far the White Tiger Guild headquarters was, smirked. "Did you morph into a tiger to get here that fast?" Still, Baek was late to the party. Gun-hee assumed he already knew everything, and this confirmed his suspicion. Jin-Woo was the mystery hunter who had saved the White Tiger Guild during the Red Gate incident. Baek was equally shocked to see Gun-hee there and grumbled, of all people to compete for the kid, It had to be that fiery-haired bastard. Meanwhile, in the background, some chubby dude was celebrating his rank C achievement. Later that night, Jin-Woo visited his mother in the hospital, silently hoping for a miracle to wake her from her coma. He whispered, "Just hang on a little longer, Mom. I'll find a way to save you." Out of nowhere, Woo Jin-chul appeared. "Were you the one who defeated those monsters in the double dungeon that day?" he asked. Jin-chul admitted that Jin-Woo had taught him not to always trust his gut instincts. Jin-Woo casually replied, "We meet again." Jin-chul then started rambling about a bunch of things Jin-Woo barely listened to, until something caught his attention. When Woo Jin-chul mentioned that the president of the Hunters Association was here to see him, Jin-Woo turned, and stepping out of the shadows came none other than Vice Admiral Garp. Well, his long-lost twin, at least. Seriously, if this guy isn't Garp's twin, I'll eat my hat. The old man introduced himself as Go Gun-hee and invited Jin-Woo for a chat. He congratulated him on becoming a rank S hunter and told him there was no need to wait for reassessment. Everyone already knew the result. Gun-hee admitted that the Hunters Association didn't have the fame or fat paychecks of the big guilds. He explained that their top guy, Director Woo, was only a rank A hunter. Still, he told Jin-Woo that it would be incredible if he joined the association, and even promised him a prestigious position. Jin-Woo was confused, so the old man broke it down. The 5 biggest guilds were constantly competing, and if Jin-Woo joined one of them, it would tip the balance of power. That's why he was inviting him to the association, a neutral 6th power that helped keep things in check. Jin-Woo thought it was a solid offer. It sounded like job security. Plus, he'd be working under Korea's first ever rank S hunter, a total legend who didn't even look like he was pushing 80. But despite the tempting offer, Jin-Woo still turned him down. Gun-hee figured Jin-Woo was just after the big bucks, but he was caught off guard when Jin-Woo said, "I want to fight. My place is in the dungeon." His resolve was so strong that it left the old man moved. Jin-Woo excused himself, saying his little sister was waiting for him at home. Gun-hee sighed, canceled all his plans, and turned to Director Woo, "Let's hit the bar." On his way out, Jin-Woo muttered that he didn't accept the offer because the association mostly handled rank D and E gates. He needed to get stronger fast, his mom was waiting, and there was no time to waste. The next day, Hwang Dong-soo woke up in the hospital completely wrecked. The deputy guild master asked him if I-won was really a magic beast disguised as a human. Dong-soo scoffed. "Does that freak look human to you?" The deputy mentioned that HQ was tracking I-won, but he doubted they could catch someone even America's strongest hunter couldn't handle. Dong-soo vividly remembered the guy stepping on him and warning, "Stay away from my family, or you'll wish for death 1,000 times over." Fueled by rage, Dong-soo was already plotting his revenge. Meanwhile, Jin-Woo was browsing for artifacts to boost his power, but quickly realized they were so expensive that he'd have to sell both kidneys just to afford half of one. He considered selling the Orb of Greed he had picked up, but worried about explaining how a supposed rank E hunter had something that could only come from high-level gates. Then, he saw a job ad hiring for a mining team and thought, well, maybe this could work. Over at the association building, Go Gun-hee was digging into more info about the kid. He found out that just 4 months ago, Jin-Woo looked like a total rookie. The guy was impressed that Jin-Woo had survived so long before awakening, considering he used to get clapped by even the weakest goblins. Jin-chul mentioned that Jin-Woo had been paying for his mom's eternal sleep treatment and his sister's college tuition. One record even showed Jin-Woo had joined a raid team from the Hunters Guild. Gun-hee assumed Jin-Woo was just after money, as expected, but he was surprised to see that Jin-Woo had joined the mining team instead of the attack team, where the real cash was. And there he was, looking like a construction worker, ready to get his hands dirty. First, the attack team went in, led by Four Eyes. The guy launched a fireball that fried an entire group of chupacabras in seconds. He was so overpowered that a squad of tanks had to block his own attack. After clearing everything except the boss, the attack team called it a day. Jin-Woo could tell right away, this Choi guy was a beast. He made sure to suppress his presence so he wouldn't get noticed. Right behind Four Eyes was the vice master of the Hunters Guild, Cha Han, aka the ballerina. Jin-Woo was amazed by her aura, but she wasn't far behind either. Noticing a strong presence, she thought it could only belong to President Go. Jin-Woo had to max out his stealth mode to avoid being detected by her superhuman sense of smell. That's when the mining crew rolled in. They worked hard to gather all the crystals and monster carcasses, but Jin-Woo, he only had eyes for the dungeon boss. The The boss radiated power even greater than Vulcan, or Medus, from the demonic castle. Jin-Woo couldn't wait to go one-on-one with this rank A beast. Out of nowhere, he overheard the crew gossiping about how they brought a rank E to work. Meanwhile, some wannabe tough guy bumped into him, trying to flex. But one icy glare from Jin-Woo nearly made the dude wet himself. Everyone started questioning if this guy was really a rank E. He looked way too strong for that. When it was time for a break, the whole crew rushed off to eat. But not Jin-Woo. He kept mining, saying, "I'm almost done." Once he was finally alone, Jin-Woo bolted straight into the dungeon at full speed. He figured he had an hour-long break, plenty of time to sneak a peek at the boss. Jin-Woo knew he couldn't kill the monster because that would close the portal and cost the Hunters Guild a fortune, but he just couldn't resist the temptation. He had already summoned his dagger when Cha caught him red-handed. She raised an eyebrow. "What the hell are you doing here?" Jin-Woo was so surprised he couldn't even respond. Then, he went full improv mode and said he got lost and ended up there by accident. Smooth. Real smooth. Cha folded her arms. "Back off. This is the boss's room." Jin-Woo realized she was seriously strong if she managed to catch him off guard like that. But she was also looking at him like he was insane because she could have sworn she saw a weapon in his hand just moments ago. As Jin-Woo walked past her to leave, she suddenly stiffened. Wait. Before he knew it, she was sniffing him. Yep, like a bloodhound. Jin-Woo blinked. "Ah, what?" Cha frowned. "You don't stink." Jin-Woo had no idea how to respond to that. Apparently, she was used to most hunters smelling like an ode to dumpster, and since he didn't reek, she was on high alert. She was even ready to pounce on him until she checked his badge. "Rank E?" she muttered. Now she was really confused. Did he smell good just because he was low rank? Some real Narnia logic going on here. Back with the mining crew, someone whistled. "Damn, dude, you got lucky." Running into Miss Cha while she was on patrol. Jin-Woo scratched his head. She was on patrol. He thought she had been tailing him all along. One geeky dude piped up, "Nah, she can literally smell certain stinks on hunters." That's when Jin-Woo remembered Cha always carried a tissue near her nose. Apparently, it wasn't just for allergies. She just couldn't stand being near sweaty hunters who smelled like onions. Later, when Jin-Woo went to collect his mission payout, everyone was drooling over him because, thanks to him, they wrapped up 2 hours early, like a human excavator. The boss was so impressed, he even offered Jin-Woo a full-time position, promising to take real good care of him. Jin-Woo smiled. "Thanks, but I've got other gigs lined up." The boss wasn't done yet. "Then, how about tomorrow's raid, Yuen?" Jin-Woo's eyes widened. "Wait, another rank A raid? Already?" Apparently, this guild was built different. They were one of the only groups in Korea that could split their forces and run multiple high-level raids at once. Jin-Woo even asked what time he should show up, and the boss got so hyped, he doubled his pay on the spot. Not bad for a guy working for $5 an hour. That night, Cha called the guild. "Hey, I need some info on a guy named Sung Jin-Woo. He was on the mining crew." She told him he might have gone off the rails since he claimed he got lost earlier. She suspected he could be a spy from another guild. But let's be real, she was just looking for an excuse to stalk our hero. Then came the shocker. "Oh, Master Choi ordered research on that guy too," the guild said. But the association locked down his files. Cha nearly dropped the phone. "Wait, what? They locked his files? For a rank E?" Yeah, that was definitely suspicious. She was about to ask more questions, but the boss just chuckled and hung up on her. Now she was lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, wondering why Jin-Woo was the first hunter she'd met who actually smelled good. And here's the secret, buddy. He uses Lightning McQueen's cologne. Meanwhile, back at the mining crew, Jin-Woo suddenly remembered his first ever raid party. The others were calling him to lunch, treating him like a hero. But out of nowhere, a knight from the attack squad showed up. "Hey, we need a replacement." "Our shield bearer bailed," he said. The miners exchanged nervous glances. We're kinda drowning in work here. We'll pay extra." Too bad that still wasn't enough for them to risk their necks. They weren't about to put their lives on the line for pocket change. That's when Jin-Woo did the unthinkable. "I'll go." The entire mining crew froze. An E-rank tagging along with an A-rank raid team. That was straight up insanity. One guy panicked. "Dude, you're way too young to become Monster Chow." But Jin-Woo figured he could learn a lot just by watching. The squad leader, Sun Kian, introduced himself only to stare in disbelief when he saw Jin-Woo casually carrying a 300-kilogram backpack like it was a school bag. The portal ahead was even bigger than yesterday's, but the team assured him it wasn't dangerous. Relax, they said. If it were actually life-threatening, they wouldn't have sent the backup squad. Yeah, just like that one time with the double dungeon, where almost everyone got a one-way ticket to the afterlife. Even though this was just the reserve team, they were still stacked, 11 A rank hunters and 6 B ranks. Finally, it was time to go in. But for some reason, Jin-Woo was getting that same weird gut feeling he had before stepping into the red gate. And that was never a good sign. Inside the dungeon, a beautiful mage reassured Jin-Woo not to be scared. "We've got your back," she said, especially emphasizing herself since she was a rank healer. "If you get hurt, I'll patch you up in no time." She even started reciting an old saying, "If the mage gets hit, it's the tank's fault. If the healer gets hit, it's the attack squad's fault. But if the shield bearer gets hit, everybody screwed up." Basically, Jin-Woo was only in danger if the whole squad got wiped out, comforting. Meanwhile, Hyun was hyped. This was his first time leading Group B, and if he pulled this off, he might get promoted to full-time leader. But before he could bask in his imaginary promotion, a noise echoed through the dungeon. The entire team snapped into formation like a well-oiled machine. Jin-Woo was impressed. Nobody even needed to be told what to do. This was the power of an A-rank squad. Then a pack of coyotes showed up. The squad wasted no time slicing them to pieces. Honestly, if they had struggled with this, it would have been embarrassing. Jin-Woo soloed 300 of these things back in episode 2, while still being a total weakling. The mage called out, "Duck!" before lighting up the entire area, vaporizing the enemies in a flash. But something was off. Coyotes? In an A-rank dungeon? That didn't make sense. They were only C-rank monsters, way too weak to be here. That's when Jin-Woo noticed something strange. These weren't just wild mutts, they had collar marks on their necks. Someone had domesticated them. And that's when the real demons of the dungeon crashed the party. A whole squad of high orcs appeared, and the team immediately started sweating bullets. One of them chucked a spear at light speed, nearly shattering the leader's shield. The orcs rushed in, and the Red Knight tried to block them. They used him as a stepping stone and went straight for the mages. One of them caught a fireball right in the face, didn't even flinch. Turns out, their magic resistance was built different. The catgirl managed to hold one down with magic whips, but the guy was a tank. 5 seconds max. She yelled, "That's all I need." The mage replied, summoning 2 massive fire soldiers. Problem? He used up all his mana. Now he was just a sitting duck. The martial artist chick went for a fancy Karate Kid move, but the orc hit her with a full body tackle, sending her flying into a wall. Things got worse. More orcs started surrounding them. Kian ordered the team to split into 3 groups. Even though this was in a ranked dungeon, nobody expected 20 high orcs to spawn out of nowhere. That was not what the portal scanner showed. And it didn't take long for the first unlucky soul to lose an arm. The mage chick tried to trap the orc, while the healer flexed her OP skills and straight up regrew the guy's arm like it was no big deal. But the orc snapped the bindings like they were paper and teleported behind her, about to send her straight to the respawn screen. Meanwhile, Mr. Backpack himself, Jin-Woo, had mysteriously vanished. Suddenly, an orc started choking in midair. Turns out, Jin-Woo was in stealth mode, going full ninja, slicing up the beast from the inside out. The healer had zero clue what just happened. Another orc randomly lost his footing because a deep cut appeared on his ankle, right before Kian split him in half. The squad was confused. Why was this fight suddenly easy? Then they realized Jin-Woo was secretly weakening the orcs one by one without anyone noticing. A few of them started sensing his presence, so he just yeeted them off the map before they could start swinging at the air like crazy people. The martial artist chick took the opportunity to body an orc with some premium grade hands, while the leader carved through their boss like he was slicing butter. The dude hit the ground hard. After the battle, the healer reported something weird. One of the high orcs randomly started choking out of nowhere. Kian thought it was the mage's doing, but she denied it. No way my spells could pull off something that wild. Then she figured it out. If someone could do that, it would have to be someone outside the squad. She was the only one who realized Jin-Woo had been using stealth mode the whole time to assassinate the monsters. But since he clearly had his reasons for hiding his real power, she decided to let it slide. After catching their breath, the squad debated whether to retreat. They barely survived fighting these high orcs. Who knows what else was lurking ahead? But Kian really wanted to finish the dungeon so he could get promoted. Jin-Woo could tell the guy was dead set on completing the raid, but since he genuinely cared about his team's safety, he decided to pull back. The squad was sweating, thinking he was about to say, "Nah, let's keep going." Only one slight issue: when they tried heading back, a cursed barrier suddenly materialized, blocking their way. "Yo, you got a spell for this?" They turned to the mage chick. "I can," she said, "but I need time." The real issue: some ridiculously strong monster had to be the one who cast the spell. Yeah, retreating was definitely the right move. Pushing forward would have been a one-way ticket to getting wiped out. But when she tried to break the barrier, she immediately started coughing up strawberry jam. The other mages looked like they were about to pass out. Then they looked back. 60. Hi, orcs. They were standing there, ready to breathe down their necks like some creeps in a dark alley. If the squad barely survived 20, imagine 3 times that. The squad leaders locked eyes. The biggest orc stepped forward, yelling straight into Kian's face with breath so bad it could melt steel beams. Dude was talking in monster gibberish, and obviously, no one understood a thing. Until, plot twist, the boss orc suddenly switched to human language. Kian asked if he was the one who put up the magic barrier. The guy straight up flexed. "Damn right I did. I'm none other than the great and powerful orc shaman. And your weak little human spells ain't got nothing on mine, so don't even bother." The shaman gave them 2 options: get obliterated now or follow him. Since they weren't complete idiots, they obviously picked option 2. Kian whispered to the squad, "We'll pull a surprise attack on the boss as soon as we get close enough. Even if we can't take him down, it should be enough to break the barrier." Then he turned to Jin-Woo. "The second the barrier drops, run for your life and get the real strike team over here." Jin-Woo, being Jin-Woo, was like, "Yeah, and by the time they get here, you guys will already be mashed potatoes." Kian just hit him with that professional soldier mindset. "Our job is to close the portal, not survive. That's why we get paid the big bucks." The healer pulled Jin-Woo aside, asking him to deliver a message to her family if he made it out alive. "This isn't your fight. No reason for you to risk your life." Jin-Woo took the letter and smiled. "I'll hold on to this, but I won't be needing to deliver it." Meanwhile, outside, Cha was pacing around, wondering if Jin-Woo was finally done playing Minecraft in the mining crew. Inside the dungeon, the squad reached the boss room, and oh boy, it was straight up chaos. Hundreds of high orcs. Warrior-type monsters who looked like they just walked out of God of War. And at the center of it all, the boss, an absolute demon of a monster, stared them down like fresh meat and greeted them. "Welcome, humans. I've been expecting you." Bro, I felt that. This dude was, without a doubt, the strongest boss yet. Cha-Han had already said that an errant hunter volunteering for an A-rank dungeon was pure insanity. Now she was certain Jin-Woo had some kind of hidden power. The previous day, she had declared she was going into the portal alone, and when the chief offered backup, she told him to relax, it was personal business. But then she realized she had forgotten her sword and asked if anyone had a spare weapon. The chief handed her a rock pickaxe, and she was like, "Got anything better? Maybe a sword or spear." But yeah, asking a mining crew for combat weapons wasn't going to work. She returned the pickaxe, saying she'd be fine. But the chief hit her with the classic, "You sure you want to walk in there empty-handed?" And just like that, she instantly regretted her life choices. Meanwhile, inside the boss room, the atmosphere was downright terrifying. The squad was already shaking at the thought that if all those superior orcs got out, the city would be wiped out in 5 minutes. That meant they had to take down the boss. But even his 4 guards looked like nightmare fuel. The soldiers were just waiting for the signal to jump the shaman when the Orc King suddenly removed his mask and asked if the humans were afraid of him. Did he even need to ask? The entire squad looked like they were about to have a full-blown panic attack. Baek Yoon-ho somehow mustered his courage and asked why they had been brought there when 60 orcs had already been more than enough. The Orc King just laughed and said it was all for fun. He planned to crush their skulls one by one for entertainment. Then, mid-monologue, he suddenly noticed someone unusual among the humans. Baek, meanwhile, was losing his mind, realizing they were nothing but playthings for the monster. He gave the order to attack, but no one moved. They were so terrified they might as well have been turned to stone. In the end, he charged in alone, but the boss casually summoned a magic ice spike and launched him across the room. Then, as if that wasn't enough, the Orc King started using gravity magic to play catch with Baek's head against the floor. Just as he was about to slam him into the abyss, someone intervened. It was Jin-Woo. Jin-Woo told the Orc King that this dungeon belonged to the Hunter Guild and he shouldn't be messing around here. But since the entire squad was about to be wiped out, he asked if he could just delete all the monsters in the room. One of the orcs tried sneaking up on him, but this time, it was the orc who got bounced around like a ragdoll. Jin-Woo turned to Beck, who was practically begging him to save them all. The Orc King acknowledged that Jin-Woo was strong for a mere human and asked how long he thought he could last against them all. Jin-Woo admitted he had never felt energy this powerful, which only made the Orc King more arrogant, until Jin-Woo hit him with a smirk and said, "Oh yeah, this fight's gonna be brutal for you guys." And with that, he summoned his shadow army, stronger than ever. Outside the portal, Woo Jin-Chul pulled up in his fancy limo, and the miners were left scratching their heads. Why was a high-ranking inspector so interested in Jin-Woo? He asked the chief where Jin-Woo was, and at this point, that was the second time that day someone had asked him that. The guy with the permanently scared face, the one who had tried intimidating Jin-Woo before, admitted something had always felt off about the kid. Dude was so terrified that he looked like his soul was about to get evicted. The chief finally spilled the beans. Jin-Woo had volunteered as a tank in the attack squad. Woo Jin-Chul just stood there like, what in the actual hell is this kid thinking? Someone even asked if Jin-Woo had killed anyone, and Woo just sighed, guess we'll find out in tomorrow's headlines. Then, out of nowhere, a massive energy explosion rocked the portal, nearly flattening everyone. Cha Han was trying to figure out how Beck's team had managed to take down so many superior orcs, but she knew that if that energy belonged to the boss, none of them were making it out alive. Back in the boss room, the Orc King was straight up mocking Jin-Woo, laughing at his pathetic little soldiers and claiming they were no match for his mighty army. Jin-Woo just smirked and warned him not to underestimate them, because they were about to get erased. He activated Monarch's domain, boosting his shadow soldiers' strength by 50%. That was a skill he had obtained after climbing 70 floors in the demon castle, and now his army was built different. The mages watching the fight could barely comprehend what they were seeing, while they struggled to summon 2 soldiers. This random human had an army with energy levels off the charts. The Orc King finally gave the signal, and his horde charged into battle. Iron tried trash-talking them, but the orcs were too OP, so he just went full Thor mode and smashed them into oblivion. Igris, on the other hand, was on demon time, slicing through 30 orcs in the blink of an eye. But even they couldn't compare to the real monster. Jin-Woo was out there treating this like recess at the playground, and the squad was watching in shock. Dude fought just like Vice Leader Cha. They were all wondering why the hell he had been hiding that he was this strong. Except for Igris, Iron, and Tank, the rest of the shadows were basically at a B-rank hunter level, so Jin-Woo had to wipe out as many orcs as possible before his mana ran out. Out of nowhere, the boss dropped the Dragon Fire Anthem, wiping out almost all of Jin-Woo's shadow soldiers. He mocked them as useless little puppets, but Jin-Woo just smirked and warned him, better watch yourself, bud, since his soldiers would keep respawning as long as he had mana. The boss then tried dropping an iceberg on Jin-Woo's head, and before he could react, he was already eating a full magic combo. The Orc King screamed that he'd keep obliterating those shadows until Jin-Woo's mana ran dry, while the weaklings ran for their lives, dodging the crossfire. Outside, the association measured the portal level and realized it was way stronger than expected, so they ordered reinforcements ASAP. Back inside, the Orc King was dying of laughter, thinking Jin-Woo must be running out of mana. But who gets the last laugh? Unlike in his class change quest, here Jin-Woo could chug as many mana potions as he wanted. That's when things got real fun. Jin-Woo extracted shadows from all the defeated superior orcs, then looked the Orc King dead in the eyes and said, "You're next, buddy." That set the boss off. He tried to say Shadow Monarch, but the system hit him with a mental blue screen of death before he could finish. Instead, he sent his generals into battle, ordering them to bring back the humans' heads. Over at the Hunters Guild HQ, Chairman Go got the news. He thought Kian's team should be enough to handle it, but just in case, he ordered his assistant to gather the strongest hunters. If necessary, they'd even request backup from other guilds. Back in the boss room, the 4 strongest orc warriors charged in. The first one immediately got wrecked by Iron. Igris was dueling 2 at once, even dropping his sword, but the blade zipped right back into his hands. Tank wanted in on the action too, and slapped an orc so hard it basically got deleted. Jin-Woo smirked, saying, "Looks like my generals are stronger than yours, ha." The attack squad was about to step in, but the Orc King activated the Hymn of Agony, paralyzing, blinding, and locking them in place. He smirked and said, "Side characters don't belong on the main stage." Now, he was about to show everyone what happens when you mess with the Great Carillon. He unleashed all his magic at once, but it shattered instantly, and Jin-Woo just scoffed, saying he was immune to such weak curses. He summoned his mages to destroy that annoying iceberg, and with the Orb of Avarice, they became even stronger. A fireball pierced through the shield and exploded right in the boss's face. Now that really pissed him off. Meanwhile, Cha finally arrived in the middle of the chaos, still rocking her mighty pickaxe. She couldn't believe how many soldiers Jin-Woo had summoned. She sprinted over to the attack squad, like, what the hell is going on? But even they couldn't explain it. Carillon, on the other hand, was done playing. Dude combined 300 spells at once and vowed to crush that kid like an insect. He stomped down like a colossal titan, but Jin-Woo just scoffed, saying he had bad memories with giant enemies. Bro was just throwing salt in the wound at this point. First, the boss launched a massive fireball. Then, just for good measure, he launched 50 more, wiping out both the shadow soldiers and the superior orcs. The boss smirked and asked, "Are you starting to regret it, little human?" Before he could blink, Jin-Woo was already on top of him, shoving a dagger straight into his eye. He hit him with the ultimate disrespect. The bigger you get, the easier you are to hit. Then, he really rubbed it in, saying a mere shaman like him was no match for an assassin. And let's be real, Jin-Woo isn't just any assassin either. Channeling the spirit of Indiana Jones, Jin-Woo dodged every single attack, then sniped 2 daggers that broke the boss's defenses and chained him up with a castle chain. He used Carillon's own strength to slam him into the ground like a ragdoll. Lucky for us, this fight even had a VIP audience. The association's inspector finally pulled up to witness the spectacle. He said they came to help, but it looked like they wouldn't be needed anymore. Cha, meanwhile, was watching with sparkling eyes, saying, "This is the strength of an elite hunter, not some rank E scrub." Then she asked, "Who even is this guy?" And even Woo had no answer. Jin-Woo smirked, saying, "Once a mage loses his guardians, he's finished." Right on cue, the Orc King started panicking, screaming that there was no way he could lose in this body. He started rampaging, throwing his own soldiers everywhere. But then they slammed his face straight into the ground, and that was game over. The last thing he saw was his own former general burying a sword deep into his chest. Just like that, Jin-Woo officially cleared the dungeon boss, racking up tons of XP and loot. Even though he soloed everything, he figured it wouldn't look too good if he just kept all the rewards for himself. But one thing he definitely wasn't sharing: extracting the boss's shadow. The crowd couldn't believe their eyes. The massive monster that had been terrorizing everyone was now kneeling before this kid. When it was time to name him, Jin-Woo straight up forgot what the dude was called, so he just went with Tusk. This was the first time he had ever scored a shadow soldier with elite knight rank, which was more than deserved for an A-rank dungeon boss. Not to mention, those superior orcs were way stronger than his usual soldiers. Jin-Woo was so locked in collecting shadows that he didn't even notice Inspector Woo standing right there. Of course, the second everyone snapped out of it, the questions started flying. But the chief stepped in real quick, saying that Hunter Sung Jin-Woo's situation was top secret. He told everyone to keep their mouths shut about what they saw. The assistants were going to escort him outside, and Woo asked everyone to cooperate and make sure his exit was low-key. Before he could leave, Ki-hin spoke up. He said he wasn't going to ask why Jin-Woo was hiding all this power. One thing was for sure, the only reason they all made it out alive was because of him. So he straight up thanked Jin-Woo for saving his entire squad. Just like that, the whole crew bowed their heads in gratitude. Jin-Woo suddenly remembered, oh yeah, he still had to return that healer's journal. Meanwhile, Cha really wanted to talk to him, but one of the mages cut in like, Vice Captain, why are you holding a pickaxe? Cha instantly turned bright red and nervously asked, Jin-Woo, do I look weird with this? Back at the Hunters Guild HQ, Chairman Go let out a deep sigh of relief. It all worked out in the end. First, Jin-Woo saved White Tiger, and now he saved them. Go still couldn't wrap his head around just how much power this kid had been hiding. He asked his assistant, who do you think is stronger, him or me? And the assistant just hit him with, sir, do you really think you could solo in a ranked dungeon like that? Even Go had to admit, not a chance. Now they had one mission, do whatever it takes to recruit that kid.